Let's go to step number 2. How do you know what to say if you don't know who you're saying it to? Once you have your target market, do you know what your target market's hot buttons are? Do you know what they value? What they don't value? What's important to them? What's not important to them? Are they male, female? Are they old, young? You got to personify, you have to personify your target market. Otherwise, you're sending messages to them that are going in one ear and out the other. And as a result, you are wasting money marketing, and you're wasting your time. Okay? So, one of the things we do a lot with companies, because we don't want to see them wasting their time or money, is we personify their customers for them. Okay? And part of that is internal research, part of it is talking to their customers, interviewing their customers, interviewing their employees, all kinds of stuff. And so we did it for ourselves. So one of our personas is business owner Bill. We sell to a lot of business owners. Okay? So business owner Bill is one of our personas that we target. Okay? And business owner Bill, we kind of know his background. He's typically male, 40 to 50 years old, earns, he's in the local. He is straightforward, not pretentious. He has an open mind generally. He seeks direction, but could be skeptical. He'll be focused on ROI. He may have price objections. He's a type A. He's also quantitative, results-oriented, and he's more strategic than tactical. Going further, he has goals. You can see his goals up there. He's got challenges. He's been burned before, so he's a little skeptical. He's tech impaired. So we know that about business owner Bill. And then lastly, here are some of the things business owner Bill says. How will you communicate? I need it, but I'm not sure where to start. I'm not growing as fast as I'd like, yada, yada, yada. Why is this important? This is important because every piece of content we write and push out there, every message in a sales meeting, every message on our website needs to address those persona elements. And if they do, then that connection is made, and that customer says, these people speak my language. Consequently, I need to call them. You got to know who you're talking to in depth so you don't waste your time blabbering. So the second element is personify your customers. Make sure you know who they are, what they think, what's important to them, not important to them, their emotions, and then weave all that in to all your content marketing, to your sales conversations, etc. So, we talk to a lot of business owners that we've never met before. They're total strangers to us. But we know how they think because we've done the research. We've talked to our current customers who are good representations of our target market. And we know how they think. So we've developed a persona. We don't know the individual, but we know pretty well how they think and what's important to them, what's not important to them. Okay? So beyond that, in terms of building a connection, you get into all kinds of things like reading their body language, mirroring and matching their communication styles and things like that. A little bit more sales stuff. We can talk about that a little bit later. But personify, know what's important to your target market so your messaging can be correct. And then once you engage with them one-on-one, that gets a bit more into the sales side of it. Number 3. Jack Welch. We all know Jack, most of us. If you do not have a competitive advantage, get the hell out. That's basically what he's saying. If you do not have a competitive advantage, just don't compete. Why should somebody buy from you versus the competition? If you can't articulate that, you're in deep trouble. So, how do you figure out what your competitive advantages are? Now, here's some questions to ask yourself. Do you have a unique process that brings better value? That could be a competitive advantage. Do you have certain expertise that brings better value? Do you have a unique product or service that solves a unique problem? Ask yourself those questions, dig deep inside yourself, and figure out what the answers are. Those become your reasons you're competing. One of our big competitive advantages, we're the only Google search and analytics partner company in the state of Virginia. Okay? Only about 70 in all of North America, only about 200 worldwide. Okay, so we bring a certain level of expertise that few others have. That's one of our competitive advantages. Okay, step 4, understand your customers' paths to purchase. You're in the B2B space, and it's tricky, very tricky. In fact, read this, and you'll probably understand better. We don't know who they are until they're about 70% through the buying process because of the internet. Okay? We don't know who they are until they're about 70% sold. When they get to that 70% mark, then they reveal themselves, and you know what you're working with. And then there's a whole process that takes them through these various buying stages. They've got to become aware of you, and they generally become aware of you in 2 primary ways, through the internet and through their sphere of influence. Then they are checking you out, and you don't know it. Okay, so if they come to your website and your website sucks, you lost them. If they're reading your content and your content sucks, you've probably lost them, and you just don't know it. Then they get to the consideration phase, and then they purchase, and then it's a matter of loyalty. So we did some market research. My company did some market research over the summer. We hired a research consulting firm, and we were aware of all these national surveys about how people use the internet. We wanted to take a unique approach and say, how does Richmond use the internet? And if you want to read some excerpts, you can go to our blog, webstrategiesinc.com blog, and there's a blog out there that says the fascinating ways Richmonders use the internet. So we asked the question, when you're going out to buy a product or service, what will you do? Will you search for it? Will you ask your friends? What will you do? Interesting thing, those over 35 said, I'll be more inclined to ask my friends. Those under 35 said, I'm doing an internet search. Anybody who's living within 60-mile radius of Richmond, Virginia, if they answer that question yes, then they go into our survey. Okay. Other than that, it was no other demographics. But we did cuts by age, we did cuts by sex, we did cuts by income. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've gone through and we've cut the data all different ways. And again, if you go to our blog and search the fascinating ways Richmonders use the internet, or just do a Google search, it'll probably come up. And we've got about 10 sound bites that represent some of the interesting things we found. Okay? They're checking you out, you don't know it. You better make sure your content and your messaging is on target, or you'll lose them. Okay? So the questions you have to ask yourself, can I be found easily in all the right places? If you're found, how compelling is your information? After being found, do you give the buyer the opportunity to interact with you? On your websites, do you have an opportunity for people to download information, to exchange their information, to give their information in exchange for watching a video, reading content, getting a report, etc.? If you don't, you're missing the mark. Because people are out there searching. If they can't find you, you've lost them. If they find you and they go to your website and you don't give them an opportunity to interact with you, you've lost them, potentially. You've got to be in all the right places, and you've got to understand how they behave through the buying funnel.